So hi, I'm Pedro from Moonspell.
I'm Ricardo.
We salute you all fans from Moonspell, and not only that, we salute all music fans with impact.
Almost in the end, but it has been great so far. The package is just great. All the bands are really cool. Attendance some places better than others, but overall I think it has been quite positive. Especially after all these 2 years with being stuck at home without being able to do much. Now everybody's getting back on the road, so there's a lot of concerts showing up. There's a lot of choice for people. And yeah, Moonspell has its share now, right now. So we're just about to play the last show from this small run, and we're quite satisfied with it so far.
Ooh, that's a tough question, because you can say so much about it. I mean, the only thing I can say personally is that it's an album that has lasted so far, as it still has a lot of impact. I still listen to it, and I'm still very proud of it, because it's pretty emotional. It's a very unique album in the way that we approach the not the songwriting, but more the song structures, and the way it flows. So we don't get to play it as much as we would like, but the reason is actually a good reason. Because with our 30th anniversary, we wanted to have a set list that would go through as many albums of Moonspell as possible. And that doesn't leave much space for new songs. I mean, that doesn't leave space for any album, really. We already have, I would say, a couple of albums out, so it's a hard pickup, but love the album. It's a shame that we're not playing more, but on the other hand, it's great that we're celebrating these 30 years of Moonspell. That like straighten.
It's hard to tell. I mean, for me, it's impossible. I mean, obviously, you get excited with every new release you put out, and every musician says that. Like favorite album, yeah, latest one. Because we're all excited about it. It's fresh. It's new for the band, and it always takes us to places where haven't been before. But after a while, it's just like any other Moonspell album. It has its importance in time and space, and during our career. So we just move on. I mean, it's.
I'm prepared for that question.
Good for
because
you.
When people ask me this, because a lot of fans ask this, in fact, and I was tired of not having an answer. I mean, because Ricardo is right. So I always say, look. Let's exclude the last album, because it's a different thing. From all the others, I think Antidote.
No, I don't. Like I said,
And I think that's more rational.
Okay.
I agree more with him. Oh, that's ooh.
I don't know.
Well, I have to say Antidote.
Do you think? Sin?
Nah, but Sin was pretty successful.
Yeah, but it got a lot of criticism.
It did at that time, yeah. But nowadays it's very much. So is Antidote. I don't know.
You don't
because
really consider these things on our daily life.
Because under rating, you must compare to something, right? And we have to compare among our albums. Which one should have been more paid more attention. And I don't know, like, because on the top rate of attention of our audience, I think it's pretty coherent. The ones that are maybe less popular among our fans, which is hard to say which, again, because people after all these years start to appreciate a lot. Sin, for instance, is a very much appreciated album nowadays. Even Butterfly.
Even Butterfly Effect, which is like perhaps the most polemic album we have. There's a lot of people nowadays asking for us to play Butterfly Effect and say they love the album. I don't know. Maybe the album came 20 years too early. I don't know. So
I wouldn't know.
Strange.
I think they all have. They all had their role in our career, and if they were better or worse accepted in its earlier days of being known, for the audience, I think throughout the time, no album is actually underrated. I think our kind of weakest album could be maybe Darkness and Hope, and but this is really a personal opinion. Obviously, it's not the band's opinion, and still, it's an album that got some recognition. And when I listen to it, I actually think there's like some songs that are really good, and so the recognition is proportional to how I feel it in the career. So,
is it too early to ask about the next album?
No, of course not. It's never too early to ask about the next album. That's what we are. We are musicians, and we're not playing other bands' music. We're playing our own music. So the main origin of all of what we do in music has to do with songwriting and to create new albums. But there was also the period with the pandemics that made also a lot of personal life changes. I think it affected a lot more the society than what people think. And we didn't develop what we started already, like immediately after the Hermitage release. But now we're getting back to it, and we also adapted somehow our structure inside the band in a way that we can work more intensively, but in short periods of time, and we really want to shorten the cycle of release, and for the next album we're still figuring it out, because usually it's like you get a concept or a theme or an idea, but you already have musical ideas. Obviously, both me and Ricardo, we always have parts of songs where to start from a proper song, but that takes a while. But it's something now we are at this moment when we are about to choose the sonic direction, because all these scattered compositions have no motivation, not a place to sit, and that's the thing, because then all that compositions will change to a certain direction, and we also want to feel, obviously we always say we want to feel free, no pressure, but I think this time we are very much focused on a Moonspell sound, and we've been trying that also a bit with Hermitage, but we were a bit adventurous. Let's see what comes up, because music at the end of the day tells you what to do and not the other way around.
I can say that right now, all the creativity in the band, it's still very individualized. Okay,
Exactly.
He has ideas, I have ideas, Fernando has ideas. Now, very soon we're going to sit down and throw the ideas on the table, and then we will see from where can we start to build. And usually that's a little bit how it goes for every album. The thing is that we don't spend as much time together as we did before the pandemics. We all moved away, live in different places, so to structure all these things, it's a bit tricky somehow, because back in the day, me and him would be pretty much writing
Daily
together
basis.
daily. you know, right now it's, yeah, we get ideas at our homes and then we share them and, you know, we see, and then we always get together and spend a few days like doing proper songwriting and getting songs ready. We're hoping to record next year. Well, the cliche answer is always aim to get better, aim to get better. For me, it's a hard task. I mean, I don't like to repeat myself, but I also need to find a way not to repeat myself, but still be within the context of what Moonspell is. Otherwise, I mean, I'm not so responsible for the sound of Moonspell. It's a work of an ensemble. But you know, sometimes I can come up with stuff which has absolutely nothing to do, at least at first glance, you know. So yeah, it's tricky, and for me it's starting to be harder, because sometimes it feels like everything has been done already. You know, you listen to metal. I'm not roasting metal whatsoever, but it seems like everybody's doing the same thing, you know. And then sometimes it's hard to find like, where can you go where nobody else went and still works, you know? And that is, it's a hard thing. Now, you can also don't care about it and just feel what you do. You know, just do what you feel. I mean, that's also another option. So that's more or less how I deal with it.
Fernando told me a few years ago that the formula in the 90s was not having a formula.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But you know, not having a formula, it will translate into something which will originate a formula. You know, like you come up with the most crazy concepts or original stuff because you don't use the formula, but then everybody goes after it, so it becomes a formula automatically.
It depends on what we're talking about, because I think in the 90s there was a formula as well, because that's when bands started to build songs. And before, a lot of the death metal and thrash metal, and a lot of times they were like, okay, they were songs, and I'm not minimizing it. Some of them, I really like them, but it was a difference, and because of that, I really like them. But the structures weren't as predictable as in the 90s. Let's say that's when chorus start to have an importance, and you know. But in terms of creativity, of how the parts are done, how, you know, the atmospheres, everything, that was very new. Yeah, he's right about it. But I think there was some formula. You know, just recently we were saying that, you know, when Ricardo joined the band, he soon enough started to write songs, and he had a song from before, Full Moon Madness. And I believe it had like, I don't know, 8 parts or 7 parts.
Perhaps. I don't even remember that.
And
I know it was a bit more complex. Yeah.
And I think that was very 90s. It was the parts, the atmospheric, the more experimental parts were used in the song, and less parts, but more explored sonically. And so I think that's the main characteristic, is that there was no boundaries. That's a different thing. There was no frontiers, there was no fears. Hey, but Ricardo is totally right. Come on, we've written a lot of songs. Every time that one picks up a guitar or a keyboard, I sometimes try different instruments because of that. Because then your hands are not used to. You don't mind to do something that you already did, because it is what people like about you. You know, sometimes I think we make that. That's counterproductive action of fighting our own nature, you know, and trying to, we want to do more. Maybe if we do less, it's more interesting. It's more Moonspell, you know. But this is hard, very easy to speak, but very hard to because music takes you somewhere else.
Communication.
It's like it's a way of communicate or share a feeling through ways that aren't the usual ways. I mean, yes, you can write a feeling, but you write it in a way that you just feel it. You can't really write what you or read what you're feeling, right? I don't know if I can be clear about this, but it's a kind of a transmission of a feeling, and it's so immaterial that it really becomes artistic. I think that's the main sense. And usually, I also think that the art is something that doesn't finish in its creation. It must have a closure. It must have a receiver, at least. Otherwise, it's not a communication. So you can do art for yourself. To me, it's discussable if that's art. When somebody, transmits something to the other person that you can't really just deliver, then you have art.
Keyboards.
Guitar. Oh, come on, drums must be so fun to
Yeah,
play.
drums must be fun.
Come on.
Quite essential.
Of course, if you know how to play an harmonic instrument, you can.
I can try a rhythmic one. Yeah, for sure.
I think so.
I would like to be a better pianist, if I could. Yeah. I mean, I can, but if I take the time for it, it's because it's. I believe it's an instrument which serves very well the purpose of songwriting. Some of the greatest songs on the planet were perhaps written on piano, and when you write on piano, you can see the overall picture of what the song might sound. When you start to orchestrate. When I mean orchestrate, is not using orchestras, but other instruments.
Other voices.
Because the piano has many ranges, and all the ranges can represent an instrument. So if you get that on your head when you're writing on piano, you get the feel. You can get already like a picture of how is it going to sound. But for that you have to be a bit more, how can I say, skillful playing. Not just searching for the note and then pressing another one. Oh, that makes it harder, less spontaneous. The most minimalistic thing ever. It will be a really solo album, just me playing guitar, nothing else. Yeah.
I think it would be rather, probably, I don't know, a solo album. But I mean, I could have guest musicians, right? Okay. That might be pretty rocking, yeah. Or maybe a bit industrial, yeah. I think it'd go maybe that direction. I don't know.
No, we haven't.
No.
No, they're very two different, they're separate things.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can say, of course, there's some Moonspell vibe in there. It's natural, I mean, it's us. But Demarark is extreme, Moonspell is not extreme. And we have already enough heavy songs on our set to play, I don't know if that would work well. But I wouldn't mind in the future. I wouldn't mind. It's not going to happen anymore. I mean, you never know. But like to do the Demonarch show, that would be fun.
New album, maybe?
Once in a lifetime, that could be fun. Yeah.
A new album, maybe?
For Demonarch? No.
I never say no, but right now.
First, I think first would be the very solo album of Ricardo. And no, come on, Demonarch was one thing only.
We wanted that record to be like a cult thing. It's like one thing that happens once in a lifetime, and that's what makes it so special, I think. That's the charm of Demonarch. It's that.
Yeah, we had to throw that out of ourselves, and that was it. Because that was all our more black metal influences. They were not, I wouldn't say all, but most of the extreme stuff, as Ricardo said, was thrown out from us, and that did the role. We had this urge to do music like this at least once. I don't think we ever want to do it again.
Like I said, I can't predict the future, but right now the feeling has been, until now so far, has been like, no, I
That's
don't
one
think
thing.
we're gonna
It's
do
great though. Well, it's a very particular project because it's based on Miguel Torga poetry. Miguel Torga is a very known Portuguese writer. You know, in schools we study him, but he's not that old. I mean, he's not alive anymore. But he's from last century, and his poetry is great. I didn't even know that he would write poetry. I just knew his books, the ones that they forced us to study. and there was one of the guys in Portugal. He works in radio, but he's also very. He motivates. He promotes a lot of releases and artistic stuff, and he challenged us to do something with it. And Fernando invited one of our friends and singer of a Portuguese band, Bizarra Locomotiva. They're also quite known in Portugal. So they both would do the vocals and put the poetry there. And I was asked to do the music. I gathered some musicians and did that project. We played live with it 2 times. But I mean, it's just I would love to record an album with it, to be honest. But I would need somebody else, you know, contributing with also ideas, musical ideas to it. And last show, we actually brought also this band's guitar player from Bizarra Locomotiva to play with us, and obviously it would be an obvious choice, but then again, you know, to mix 2 bands is a bit weird. It starts to be a bit strange. So the thing is, it's really, really interesting. I was really happy with the songwriting, you know, and how it came out. Just you know, when I look back, I've learned so much about sound since then that when I listen to that, I'm like, this could sound better, you know, a lot better, and then maybe it would be even more interesting, you know.
Never thought about it, but there's one venue I'd love to play. It's called the Red Rocks. It's in Colorado. Just because of the history that happened there, like, you know, major acts performed there, and it's a cult place. It's very somehow mystical. It's like in the mountains. So for me, that would be the dream venue. It's like an open air amphitheater in the middle of rocks and mountains in Colorado. That would be my, I said it already. That would be my dream thing to play.
I prefer to think about nightmares venues than dream venues. You know, it's like the challenges are more interesting for me. I don't know, because Red Rocks is actually a really cool venue to be played at. But I don't know, the perfect venue. In the desert, in some ruins, you know. When it's in a really strange place, it's always very unique, so it might be there, I just don't know it, yeah. But that's 2 different questions, because when I listen to our music, after a while, it's like, after 1 year, 1 year after you release an album, it becomes very strange to listen to it. And then 5 years after, it becomes again very interesting to listen to it. To play live is a different story. You know, there are songs like, for instance, Full Moon Madness. I still love to play that song. It's one of my favorites. Life is a different thing. You know. Sometimes you're playing a new song and you're so stressed because you still didn't practice enough, or it's not automatic, you know. And then you play another song that you don't really like to listen in the album, you know. You think the song maybe is childish, or oh come on, this is too naive. too simple. But the fact is that when you're playing live, when you're playing it live, it's a whole different matter. And it has a lot of different intensity. And then again, the communication, the artistic communication, then is right there. You can almost touch it. So it's a different thing.
Well, for me to listen to my music, it's when the album comes out. I mean, when we get the physical copy, okay, I'll listen to it to see like, no, this is the real final result. Let's hear it. And I might hear it for a day or two, but after that, it turns out it becomes like any other album. You know, once you're done with it, you put it back on the shelf. Sometimes I listen, to it. I don't know, to learn songs, whatever. You know, to sometimes you have to remind stuff that you did. That might be, or a friend wants to listen or whatever. That's when I would play. But that doesn't mean the songs are dead. You know, it's a continuation process. So now the songs live within us, and we have to perform them live. And it's a constant work. You know, trying to make them sound better. Throughout the years, the expression starts to change. You know, you start to find out little things in the song that you can modify. You know, even if people don't notice, we do. And it's like a work in progress to make the song sound better, even better. To a point that if you would re-record it again, you would feel like, wow, way better, you know. So yeah, it's an endless thing. I'm busy with my family. I mean, I read, I do my walks. Some exercise, and mostly taking care of my family. You know, I have a 4-year-old son that, as you might imagine, takes a lot of attention. I live outside of Lisbon, quite far away, so I live in a very small town, and there's always some agricultural things to do, take care, and yeah, try to live peacefully and with life quality, mostly.
Well, I'm very busy with the band, but when I have time, I'm starting up a guerrilla, so that we can overtake the parliament in Portugal and kick all them out. Then I'm joking. I don't know. I like to go to the beach. You know, I don't know. Free time is what happens, but eventually I really like to go to the ocean. Something I really like to do. I like to do sports as well. You know. Hanging out with friends, watch football. That's my main hobby. Okay, that's a real one. Sometimes even stop a show because of that. No, that I never could do, and actually to mix them both is a bit terrible. But I don't know. It's free time, like anybody else. You know, I don't know. I like to also to try to see. You know, nowadays I try to go to cinema as well, but more like independent authors. Because they also give a certain kick of inspiration. It's like reading books, you know. Sometimes you have to force yourself to face other arts, so that you get more inspired. Music obviously inspires the most. We are here because of music, but it's a fact that other kinds of art also brings you fresh ideas, and especially try always to keep ahead of time, you know, because I don't think bands should be stuck in just one moment, you know. They should also evolve with the time. And I think all arts contribute a lot to that, so that you are, you know, in the following the tendencies, and also listen to new music. That's something really important to me. So the contact with other arts is essential, I think. Yeah, we have a lot of plans, but I mean, before we confirm them, you know, you cannot say, but I think we are going to invest a bit of time on the other side of the ocean. In America and in Latin America, we have already confirmed a period of 8 shows, I think, in 9 shows, yeah,
In Mexico.
in Mexico. Then we'll start off the season, the festival season. We'll for sure do some festivals throughout Europe, and we have the album that we have to work on these gaps between touring and being at home. But it's going to be busy. It's going to be busy because even it was yesterday we had a meeting with our agency, our booking agency, and then obviously we are shooting a lot of not shooting a lot of guns, but in a lot of directions, because there was so much to do, that was hanging after these COVID times, that we have a lot of spaces to fill in still. Oh, like cold blood. Have you ever thought about that? I mean, okay, I'll try my best, but like Disintegration from The Cure, October Rust from Typo Negative, it must be one of Pink Floyd there. But let's say Dark Side of the Moon, okay, to make it easy. Now it gets tough. Okay, the Fields of the Nephilim.
Earth Inferno.
No.
Elysium.
Elysium, Fields of the Nephilim, and and then I'll have to leave an open space because I mean it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick, from Nick Cave to I don't know, to even the Smiths or Tiamat has a very strong albums. So I don't know.
Okay, I'll go for Marillion's Misplaced Childhood, perhaps my favorite record ever. Yeah, it's the one I still listen to.
Yeah, I know. I also have the same.
The Doors, absolutely live. Iron Maiden, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Metallica, Master of Puppets, and
The fifth is like no. To leave some out is
I don't know,
tricky.
maybe Dark Side of the Moon also.
Oh, that's a good question.
That's all tough questions. Right?
Oh,
So who could cover us?
we feel like hey, I don't know.
We could cover ourselves pretty well. I mean, we could start the thing.
Roger Waters?
No,
I really don't know, man.
me neither. I'm trying to think about something. Okay, a band that I like, obviously, but has kind of a different approach and to be a bit spatial as well. But it's not like I don't know.
Don't know. Sorry about that. I don't
Like
know how.
Wolver maybe.
Wolver.
Yeah.
That would be interesting
Yeah,
to hear.
that could be or this kind of leprous thing could also be quite interesting. I think that's these alternative metal bands or Zone, all these kind of bands. I think they would do a good job. I think.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
What's the meaning of life? Maybe to answer that.
It's a film.
Yeah, I know. Monty Python. Maybe to answer that question should be the meaning of life, or at least the goal of life.
Any last words to your fans?
Yes, please keep supporting Moonspell. Please, please, please. We are a really good band. Please support us. No,
You
guys.
heard the man.
Look, It's, you know, music is one of the most special things in the world, I think. Obviously, it's not something you need to survive, but humans have evolved to a point that we need these art forms, and music has become one of the major ones. And uh, we as musicians, people that play live music, felt a lot of missed a lot to play live, you know, the shows, to be with the fans, to see that people really like you, because, you know, just messages in, you know, in the social media is like, you know, you cannot really feel it as much. It's great but it's never as great as to see somebody singing a song together with you when you are on stage. That's something you cannot change, and I believe that Moonspell really has a lot of good music to deliver to their fans, and we can only be thankful for all the people that have supported us throughout the years, because for us it's a privilege to be here, and it's mainly thanks to you guys. So thank you.
We heard the man. Art is important. Culture is very important. I mean, a society without culture is sterile. You know, it has nothing. So please support live music, support culture in general, and thank you for being with us all these years, and hope to see you out there.
Thank you for the interview.
You're welcome.